Alright guys, so today we're going to be working on our data trackers. This is what our data tracker looks like. This is something that you're going to fill out and then give back to me, and we'll go over it every single time that we take a test. Right, so we need to get it set up before we even look at what our test grades were for the first 6 weeks. Right, so what I need you to have is every color of the rainbow. There's 6 colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. Okay. Right? Every single person needs to have those, right? So we're going to start with red, and we're going to start at the bottom and go all the way up to purple, right, in rainbow order, okay? So make sure that they are crayons or colored pencils, not markers, right? We're not using markers because then we won't be able to see the numbers, okay? So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take this box right here. It says did not meet low, and then it has all of the scores right here. Right, we're going to color in this box completely. Right, I don't want you to color it really dark because I want you to still be able to see the numbers. But you're going to go ahead and color in this whole box. Right, so go ahead and color. Make sure you're staying in the lines. Alright, just like that, right? Doesn't have to be perfect, right? But not too dark. You can still read the numbers on there, right? Right, your red can be pushed to the side. We don't need it right now. Right, now we're going to do orange. We're going to do this smaller section right here. It should not take you much longer than me to color this in. Right, so make sure you're coloring quickly. Okay, there's orange. Right, then yellow in the next box. Green here. Blue is meats. Right, now with blue and purple, you need to be really careful that you don't push too hard. Right, I'm going to just do it very lightly. Since they're such dark colors, I still want to be able to read those numbers. All right, and then the very top is purple. Right, make sure when you're doing yours, you're a little bit more careful than me. That top line, right, that has the titles, you don't need to do that one. Okay, so the other things that we need to do to this paper, right, need to get a pen. You can use your pencil, right, is we need to fill out the top part. Okay, so first of all, you know your name. You can put your name here. Okay, you'd put your name there. Right, let me explain real fast how this works. Okay, so in a little bit, you're going to be getting your 5th grade star score. Right, if you didn't know what it was, right, you're going to put that score right there. right? And then based off of that, right, we're going to make our goal, right? This is our goal for the year. Everyone's goal is always to move up 2 levels, right? So let me show you what that looks like, okay? So on STAR, if you made a 35, right, that's right here, that's in the did not meet high category, right? Your goal would be to move up 2, right? 1, 2, that would be approaches high. So that's what you would write here, okay? If you made a meets, right, you made a 70, right? Your goal is always to move up 2 levels, right? Well, in meets, there's only 1 level to move up, so your goal would move to masters, right? If you scored anywhere in the masters range, then your goal is to stay at masters, right? So that's what you would write right here, okay? Right? Anywhere you are, your goal is to move up to. So did not meet low would be approaches low, okay? Right? When we're doing this, right, there's a couple of things I want to point out. Right, at the top, right, the first thing we're going to write in this box is the date we took the test, right? We took the 6 weeks test on, I got to look it up. When did we take it? There it is. We took it on 9/30, the 30th of September. So 9/30, and go ahead and write that in there. Right, so we're just focused on this first 6 weeks column. Right, so what we're going to do is in a second, you're also going to get your 6 weeks test grade. Right, some of you know it, some of you might have forgotten it. That's okay. We're all going to go based off of what the spreadsheet says that we see in a second. Right, you're going to find your test grade, right, and say you made a 52. Right? Well, looking on your paper, right, what I did is I made these scores just very, very light in here, okay? So if you made a 52, I want to zoom in a little bit, it's hard to see, right, but a 52 is right here, okay? You can't see it on the video, but it's there, I promise. You can kind of see it right there, okay? 52, that's that box, right? What you're going to do, right, it doesn't matter what color you use, right, you're going to pick a color, right, I'm going to pick orange, right, you're going to start in this box, the score that you made, and color in the rest of the box, right, so let me zoom out, right, this whole thing, it's like a bar graph, okay, so I'm going to color, I'm not going to make you watch me color for very long, so it's not super great. Right, you're going to color in your whole box, right, make it look neat, right, make it look better than mine, right, and that's how we track our grade for every test, right. On the top, I also want you to put the grade that you made, so remember, we were talking about a 52, you can put the percent sign if you want, 52, that's your score, okay, right, I want you to notice what this is at, right. A 52 is in the approaches high category, right? So we still have some work to do, right? If we're at approaches high or below, right? Remember meets, right? Meets is like you are on grade level. You are right where you need to be as a 6th grader, okay? So this means you completely understand everything, right? This means that you completely understand everything and could teach it to someone else, right? So meets and masters is where we're always going to be shooting for, okay? So that's how that works, right? Sometimes there's numbers that don't fit between the lines, okay? If your grade, right, isn't one of the numbers that are on here, right, what you're going to do is you're going to look for the grade that's closest, okay? So you're not doing this in second 6 weeks, but I'm just going to show it to you in second 6 weeks as an example, right? So say you made a 45, right? 45 is not on here. We have 44 and we have 46, right? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to round down, right? Because you did make a 44, right? You made a little bit higher than that, but you did not make it to a 46 yet, right? So we're going to stay at 44, right? And you would color in here down. Remember, you're not doing this in the 6 weeks. I'm just showing you an example, right? Like that, and that's why we put the number up top. So I can say Nope, actually I made a 45, okay? Even though it's in the 44, right? So that's what our data tracker's looking like, right? You need to make sure that you have all of this colored, the date, and your name on this paper before we move on, okay? So name, the date we took the test, 9:30, and every color over here colored.